Welcome back to 28storms.com. This is a special video update. Just like the tropics always do, they've given us another surprise, and it looks like the tropical low is developing a bit faster over the northern territory than we had anticipated. So let's delve right on into it. First of all, we still have the tropical cyclone formation alert for the tropical low that's north of Western Australia. This low is now forecast to continue moving southwest, and it probably will still intensify into a tropical cyclone within the next 1 to 2 days. So interests along the coast will still definitely want to pay attention to it. There's still a couple differing forecasts. Some of the models still show a continued southwest motion and eventually a turn to the south parallel to the coast, which wouldn't really cause too many problems, although a couple models still turn this system back toward the southeast, bringing a minimal to moderate tropical cyclone landfall along these areas. So that's still a potential possibility. But now we also have a tropical cyclone formation alert directly over Darwin. And this is in response to a low pressure area beginning to really tighten on satellite imagery. And not only that, but we've heard several reports out of the Darwin area of excessive wind gusts and flooding from the heavy rains that have occurred over the last couple hours in that area. So things are certainly heating up in that regard. And not only did the Joint Typhoon Warning Center issue a tropical cyclone formation alert, but the Bureau of Meteorology is also issuing tropical cyclone advice statements, and we have gale watches and warnings for much of the areas surrounding Darwin. So things have changed in a hurry over the last few hours, and it looks like we're going to get some immediate formation of a potential tropical cyclone as soon as this low pressure area makes it into the Timor Sea. Now, taking a quick look at the latest enhanced infrared trends, both systems look fairly healthy even though they're in their infant stages. It still looks like this system is organizing under an area of upper level ridging aloft. It's going to be slow, but it's going to be steady intensification, and I still anticipate this storm will become a tropical cyclone. And now we're starting to see more convection develop along the low level circulation near Darwin as it begins to move to the west ever so slowly. Here's another look at the infrared imagery. This is more toward the east, but nevertheless you can still see that Northern Territory low really getting its act together. As the Bureau of Meteorology has noted, conditions appear fairly favorable for this second system to intensify as soon as it gets over water. Upper level wind shear isn't that high, and as we look at more of the upper level analysis, there's some pretty good divergence aloft, and conditions look fairly favorable. The same can be said for this tropical system north of, or well, now more so toward the west of Port Hedland, and we still have this upper level ridge axis that's dominating much of the area. And this is a better vantage point. As you can see, the dark blue values indicate little to no wind shear. This is a simply more zoomed in image of the tropical low over the Northern Territory. We surely didn't see as many reds and deep intensity colors in terms of convection on the infrared satellite imagery up until the last few hours. So this thing is really starting to get going. The low-level circulation is still partially exposed toward the south, with much of the convection still north of the center, but nevertheless we expect that to gradually change with the system becoming more organized as more of the circulation begins to enter open waters. Now, this is the most recent 0Z run of the ECMWF model. I made a slight mistake in the prior video showing a slightly older model run, but nevertheless it hasn't changed all that much. This is the current time, and as we can see, that low is still organizing to the north of Western Australia, with the other Timor Sea low just beginning to move into open waters. Now, as we move into the 24-hour time frame, we see that both systems are now becoming very apparent on the 850 millibar chart. So both systems continue to intensify according to this model. And again, this appears to be fairly accurate given the upper level conditions that are involved with these two systems. And as we work our way into 72 hours into Friday, we see this low beginning to ever so slowly move toward the west-southwest, which makes complete agreement, or makes complete sense with the synoptic pattern that's in place. Because if you look at the 500 millibar pattern, we still have fairly good ridging over central Australia. We have a weak long wave trough passing over southwest Australia, but it doesn't look fully strong enough to really pull this system deep into the inner portion of Australia just yet. So it's probably going to parallel the coast for the foreseeable future. As we go into 96 hours, both lows are still apparent. In this case, our original tropical cyclone, which is more than likely it more than likely has a name by now. It's slowly beginning to pull toward the south and is becoming absorbed by a non-tropical trough of low pressure down to this area. By 120 hours, or 5 days from now, we now have 3 separate areas of low pressure that's definitely worth monitoring. We still have a broad area of low pressure, and the models have been seeing this for the past several runs. Broad area of low pressure between New Caledonia and Fiji. This could be the next spot to watch for some potential tropical mischief. Meanwhile, our original tropical cyclone is continuing to move south, whereas this is probably going to be the biggest troublemaker over the next 5 days because it's not going to move all that much, and it's the closest one to any land masses. As we go into day 6, much of the same pattern. None of these storms really want to move out the way too much, and by the way, this storm is now strengthening significantly, and as we look at the 850 millibar and sea level pressure analysis, you can see them quite well at this point. And as we go into day 7, the lows are still there. So basically over the next 7 days we can look forward to seeing this Northern Territory low just gradually meandering toward the southwest and wreaking havoc across much of the coastline. So this is going to be a busy week into the weekend for much of the Australian coastline, especially the northwest portion, and we'll try to cover this as much as possible. So again, just to summarize, we now have 2 tropical cyclone formation alerts, one to the north and west of Port Hedland, and then we have the other one located directly over Darwin, and it looks as though both of those storms will be strengthening into tropical cyclones over the next couple days, and it looks like the one over the Northern Territory is going to cause the most problems as it hugs the coastline for much of the following week. And then later on, as long as these models are correct, and this isn't the only model showing this, we could have a potential third system to the east of the Solomon Islands and east of New Caledonia. So thank you for visiting 28storms.com. If you go ahead and check out our 28storms.com/cyclone page, you will notice many links that can take you to direct information from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, Bureau of Meteorology. You could even find links from Twitter with the latest news articles, including forecast model guidance and the latest satellite imagery, and radar links to the areas being affected the most by tropical systems. So we've tried to add all of the best links around the web for tropical cyclone formation, and we've combined it all into one page as best as we possibly could. So please go ahead and check that out. Again, it's 28storms.com/cyclone. And as far as these videos go, we're going to try to update these at least 1 to 2 times per day as long as the tropics remain active. We won't be able to update it as much as the Bureau of Meteorology and Joint Typhoon Warning Center release their own products, but thanks to the web page that we've put together, you can still follow them along with our videos as they come out. So thanks again for checking out our website, and please tell anyone that you may think is interested, and check back soon.